interviews with business owners and veteran executives who share their wisdom and expertise to help you de-stress, free up time, and make more money. Prophets of IT. Welcome back to the Prophets of IT. I am Jim Punzenberger, your host and the creator of the Managed Prospecting System, looking to generate new clients or partners with creative outreach and short-form viral content. Be sure to check out managedprospectingsystem.com. I am excited to have Nigel with me. He is the Chief Revenue Officer at 𝐏𝐶𝐵𝐴𝑟 AI, and he is also a fan of the San Francisco 49ers.
Hey, Jim, thanks very much for having me on.
Thank you for your time here today and your willingness to come share. What's something interesting about you outside of work, other than that you're a 49ers fan?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, like before the kids came along, I was active with the BMW car club and their racing program, so that was a lot of fun. But when the kids came along, my wife said that I'd lost the right to kill myself. So me and a few dads from the school, we took up doing triathlons, which was a lot of fun. And I got to do the Escape from Alcatraz a number of times, which is the one that's set here in the Bay in San Francisco. The water is
Escape from Alcatraz. Do you actually escape from Alcatraz? Literally,
well,
you go into Alcatraz and they drop you off and you jump in the water and you swim and then...
Yeah, literally, yeah, you get on the San Francisco Bell and yeah, we just troop over there and then you jump into the bay. So
oh, that sounds like a chilly start.
And then but more recently, lucky enough to live on the West Coast and and up and down the coast of the US, a lot of wine regions. So I joined the Wine and Food Society of San Francisco, where we get to enjoy fabulous food in our wonderful restaurants that we have around the Bay, and enjoy some of the wine from here and also from the old world as well. So,
oh, that sounds like something I'd probably enjoy more than jumping off the rock in San Francisco Bay for fun.
Absolutely.
Anyways, I guess moving back to business. What would you say is your superpower when it comes to business, or what are some of the keys to your success?
Yeah, so from a personal perspective, I've been in sales for 20 plus years now, and I've always found that putting the customer first is vitally important. A lot of us grew up with the consultative selling methodology, but I like to focus on the consultative side of that and go into a new customer meeting with an open mind. I'm not there to try and sell them something. I'm there to try and help them solve a business problem. If I get to sell some of my stuff along the way, then great. But I'm still there, first and foremost, to help them solve their problems. And then from a focus on long-term relationships. I was thinking back to when I joined a company called Speechworks in the speech recognition market. My first customer there was T-Mobile up in Bellevue, and I got to work with a lady, Maria Nelson. And then fast forward the clock, maybe 15 years. I was working at Cisco, and I got the opportunity to go back and meet with the folk from T-Mobile again. And there was Maria. And it's that thought that, if you have that in your mind, that, you need to develop those relationships that will last a long time, because, we go through our careers together, and these people, they move companies, you're going to bump into them a lot. So, and then from a team perspective, managing a sales team, I got the opportunity to listen to Simon Sinek, who was made famous by the Start with a Why TED Talk that he did. But he gave us a talk on this concept of servant leadership. And that really resonated with me. It's this idea that you are there in service to your team, and your role and your goal is to help them be successful. So I took that to heart, and I've managed my sales teams that way ever since. But in terms of superpower, I can remember everything that was said in every meeting who said what questions were asked, what action items were taken, what topics were discussed, what competitors were doing, without writing a single thing down. And that's really where 𝐏𝐶𝐵𝐵 comes in.
Okay. I'm gonna say, like, are you like the Clark Kent, and
Smart.
you just have the cap on, like, or the cape, you're hiding the cape underneath your sport coat, or how does one so that's your superpower, is being able to record everything in a meeting, it sounds like.
Yeah. So and think about it, Jim. We used to go out and sell, face to face, and now we're all selling in front of Zoom.
Yes.
So the reason we built 𝐏𝐶𝐵𝐵 was to give salespeople a set of tools that they could use while they are in the meeting. There's services like Gong and Chorus that do a great job of recording the meeting and transcribing it, and but it's all sort of after the fact. We wanted to focus on things that we could do to help the salesperson in the moment, so that they can focus on their client, building that relationship without having to worry scribbling stuff down and things like that. So it's a real-time teleprompter for the salespeople. So it keeps track of all of the topics that the agenda items, and ticks them off as you go through them. It helps answer questions. It can, if it hears a question and it knows the answer to it, it'll come up and show the answer just to the salesperson. It studies talk time. So if you've been talking too much, it'll say, "Hey, stop and ask a question." So it's just a bunch of tools around that really are there to help them be more effective while selling.
Cool. And I think I heard that it also can automate, like, things that you have to do after the meeting is over too.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was a couple of your podcasts. It was 𝐷𝒐𝐿 and
Yes.
Ken Growy. They were both talking about ChatGPT, and so I don't think like with all of the hype, it's somewhere between snake oil and becoming the next president. Its capabilities. So we're leveraging that as part of the platform. We thought initially that we would just be able to take the transcript of the meeting, feed it into ChatGPT, and say, "Hey, summarize this meeting for me," and it did a great job of making a nice sounding summary, but it had no concept of what the topics, what was important and what wasn't, and so it would often miss out some of the critical elements. So what we did is, we take ChatGPT as a foundational level, but then we put our own tech on top to pull out the topics, pull out the action items, the questions, and so we get that initial summary, or kind of a structured document with all of those things in, and then we hand that off to ChatGPT, and it's a far better job of summarizing.
Basically, you preface the question, like, you guys know how to ask ChatGPT the right questions to get the answers that you need, not just if you just ask it to summarize this meeting, it's not going to get you what you need, is what I'm hearing.
Yep. And so what comes out of that is something that you can put into your CRM system or your Slack channel, or use it. I use it to send back to the customer. So, like, here's what we heard. Here's the action items. Here's the next steps and things like that. So it helps me after the fact do that initial follow up. And the other thing that we want to do with ChatGPT is to enhance the question answering capability. These models, they were trained on the entire internet, but they have actually very little information about each individual business. And if you ask it a question, it quite often hallucinates or gives you the wrong answer because it just doesn't know. So what we're working on right now is a way of combining kind of enterprise data with one of these large language models, so that it can we can give it the right facts and data to it can then write a nice answer around. As these models, I mean, in the olden days when I was doing speech recognition, you could easily tune a model, right? It was you get 100,000 utterances, and you got a bang, you got a new statistical language model. But now these have got like billions of nodes in them, and just the compute time alone is in the millions of dollars just to tune it. So we have to find some other mechanisms to be able to tune these models or make them usable for the enterprise. So, and we think it's a combination of of semantic search, plus these models, plus some of the middleware that we're developing. So
cool. And so, like, obviously, ChatGPT probably may be aware of like some big businesses. Like, you might be able to ask ChatGPT a question about Microsoft.
Mhm.
But if you're trying to do business with smaller companies, I'm guessing like your company, for example, ChatGPT is not going to have any data on.
No. And even the data that it does have about those large companies, the poster child we always go to is ask it the range of a Tesla Model 3. That's a factual piece of data that is available in the internet. It's available on their website, but it doesn't even get the number of models right. It doesn't, and it definitely doesn't get the answer right. So we've got to find a way of kind of go and get the facts is the answer of the facts, and then hand it over, create me some nice words around this, and then it does a great job.
Cool. Any final thoughts around this?
No, it's going to be an exciting journey, and I think a lot of companies are trying to figure out where ChatGPT will fit into their strategy and what they're going to do with it. So I think we're in that that hype cycle of it's great, but like, how do we actually derive business benefit out of it? I think is still a work in progress.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we got a networking moment here.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody specifically that should be reaching out to you? Why do they should be reaching out to you?
Yeah, it's if you're a chief revenue officer like me, or a VP of sales, or sales operations, and you want a way to be able to ensure that your sales reps are following the prescribed approach for each meeting. It may be for a first meeting. Here's the 3 topics I want you to cover, and here's the 5 qualifying questions I want you to ask, and ensuring that those are taking place on every call. That's an ideal sweet spot for us.
Okay, so you'll make sure that you basically your solution makes sure those questions get asked, and it'll prompt the salesperson to ask them if they haven't asked them.
Right.
Cool. Yeah. And what would be a good way to get a hold of you if somebody wanted to reach out?
Our website, 𝐏𝐶𝐵.ai. Just go and book a demo.
Cool. Look in the show notes too if you're curious. So I'll include the URL in the show notes.
That's good.
Well, thank you for your time here today, Nigel. It's been a pleasure having you on.
It's a pleasure.
And until next time on the Profits of IT, I am Jim Punzenberger, your host, the creator of the Managed Prospecting System. Be sure to check out managedprospectingsystem.com.
Thank you for tuning in to the Profits of IT. Please smash that like button, subscribe, and share.